Okay, let's call this expanded use of modes, just to get the most bang out of your practice time, because all of us, I think it's probably human nature to kind of be lazy, or at least just try to get the most out of what, you want to get the most use out of the stuff you learn. I guess you should look at it more that way. But now that we've kind of covered modes a little bit, we kind of know how modes work, here's an interesting way to practice, and an interesting way to get the most use out of your transcribing. And transcribing is where it's at. I mean, when I was a student at school, we were constantly trying to outdo each other, stealing licks. A lot of saxophone players are fun to steal from. They translate really good to guitar, and they always sound a little bit different than your cliche guitar licks. But one thing that I found was really handy was, I had a pick here someplace. I guess it's not important. Is like if I learn a lick that I know is in the key of G minor. Let's say I put on a David Sanborn record, I put on something cool and funky, and heard a lick. Right? Cool stuff in D minor. I don't know how cool that is, but it's D minor. So, say I learn a lick, and the lick is... That's kind of cool. Basic part. Okay, well the first thing I want to do is I want to analyze that. I want to analyze that in the key of D minor. I know the chords and bands funking out on D minor, and I don't want to just look at it as dots on the fretboard only. I want to kind of analyze it and know what the heck it is that I'm playing. So what you should do, I think more important than really being able to say that's C and that's E, saying that's C and that's A and that's G, I think it's more important from a guitar player's perspective to think of it as the dominant 7, the 9, 5 and 4, minor third, 9 again, right? Now, here's where I want to expand this knowledge to get more bang for our buck. We have the physical shape down. We have the geometric shape on the fretboard, and we know that this is from a D minor. Okay, D minor is the tool of C. So now we want to hear it, and we want to see it, we want to feel it in the key of C. Right? The first note is going to, now we're going to look at the same lick, but we're going to relate each note not to D minor, but to C. So now what was the 7 of D is now the root of C. So we've got the root, the major third, the root, 6, 5, root, 5, 4, 3. Beautiful. Back to D minor. I need my pick. Sometimes. And this process can continue. Learn it over G7. This one we might want to resolve to a chord tone because it might make it sound a little more in the chord structure. And that's one thing. I've taken this one lick and now I can use it over 3 different situations. I can use it over a dominant 7 vamp, I can use it over a minor 7 vamp, I can use it over a major 7 vamp. But the key thing is that you've got to see it in the new key. So now, if I'm looking at the same lick in the key of G, it's going to have to be 4, 6, 9, root. lot of these notes have phrase-wise, and this is an example of, once again, targeting chord tones, is that, yeah, I mean, look, if it's a sus4 chord, sounds great. If it's a dominant 7 chord, like a blues, I mean, it still sounds good. It just might sound a little bit less in the key of G7 because we're kind of starting with a sus4 and we're ending on a 6. That's where, you know, you have to use your ear and you kind of resolve it to a chord tone. And they're all only a half, I mean, this resolved down to the 5th. Might sound better. It might not. It sounds great like it is. I'm just saying that, and then we'll get into this later when we talk about playing chord changes in another lesson, that it's targeting chord tones, always knowing where the chord tone is, where the chord tones are in a scale or in an arpeggio or a triad or whatever. It's always important to know where they are. So, what have we learned today? We can take one lick, and instead of knowing one lick in one key, when we learn one lick, we've actually learned, if I learn a lick in D minor, I learned a lick in G7. If I learned a lick in D minor, I also learned a lick in C major 7, right? It's just how you see it. So when you learn anything, whatever the lick may be, always related. Right there I see it as C, but it might be a great lick in the key of D minor. G7. So, you know, everything's perspective, but take whatever lick you learn, take it and see it in the related modal key centers. This is going to help you expand. It's going to help you learn a lot quicker. Cool.